Welcome back to another edition of New York Got Game. Your boy Dexter Henry here alongside Bryan Fonseca. Bryan, what's going on, man?
Big game last night, or the night before, as a matter of fact, from the time we're recording this. Lots to talk about. The Knicks look pretty good, and they're undefeated at home. So we're getting less antsy comments lately.
I don't know about that.
Less antsy comments.
The antsy comments are still going to come in some form. I can tell you that.
Temporarily.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
That's what we'll say.
Yeah.
For now.
And they play
they
play the Nets next. They'll get antsy if they lose that game.
Oh, that would be cause for concern. But we always try to come up with some fun things here, and our amazing technical director, Nikolai Jackson, he had a good idea for us to talk about some topics this week that I thought was really good for us to do. And, we've looked at different things around the Knicks. We've dug into film. We've had all these different things. But we haven't talked about certain things we're seeing through the season and then what is the odds or percent chance of that actually happening. So there's some early season things that we've seen that we think are interesting. I think, we find interesting. The fans will find interesting for sure. So we're going to try to talk about them. We've got 5 different topics that we have talked about. I have not given this too much deep thought, so I wanted to stay in the moment with this. I didn't want to overanalyze anything here. I really tried to stay in the moment. I don't know if Bryan did, but I'm trying to stay in the moment with it.
Mostly.
Have my thoughts on some of this.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but this is good, and shout out again to our technical director, Nikolai Jackson, who had this really good idea for us to do with this show. I thought it was fun. I think we'll bring it back with some other stuff. We can do it later in the season. It's got a lot of legs to this that we can do.
I agree.
So the first thing we're going to talk about, and look, I feel like so much of this season we're going to be talking about the offense, right, for the Knicks. And obviously the head of the snake in the offense is the captain, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, guys, he's currently shooting 33.3% from 3. That would be the worst of his career. Now, we just talked about panicking, and some of y'all might actually panic when you hear that number. But the big question here is, what are the odds? What percent chance do you think that he stays below his career worst, which is 34.8%? That's from his rookie year. So what are the odds that he shoots worse than that this year, which he is doing right now? And I think we'll get into this, Bryan. There should be some context around this, too, because he is getting up more threes than he ever has before, and some people like that. But for you, what are the odds? What are the odds for you that you're going with that he shoots worse than he did from 3 in his rookie year?
Worse than his rookie year? I'm going to say like 30%. I don't think.
Wow, even going that high?
Yeah, I mean, just because the volume is. It's career high level. So the 3-point attempt rate right now is 36, and that is by far the highest 3-point attempt rate he's had in his career. 30% is still 30% is 30%. Like, let's be serious about this. But at the same time, because of the volume, there is a world where, maybe he's at 33% all year. Maybe it drops to 32, whatever. Like, guys have bad years. Sometimes you just can't put it together. But I don't think it's going to be the case because this is the other 70% now. Ultimately, he's taking pretty good 3-point shots for the most part. A lot of pull-up threes, I feel like, are just off. And, top of the key, above the break threes that he will typically make, threes that probably will fall because a lot of these are open shots that I feel like he's missing. I don't know if he's going to be 40%, 45%, or, that's staggeringly high, but I do expect him to get back into, like, the high 30s, even with this 3-point attempt rate.
Yes, I mean, like, this is according to Cleaning the Glass, his 3-point percentage is in the 42nd percentile right now at 33.3%. I understand he's taking more threes than he ever has before. So, look, I'm not calling all of you out there, but, lovingly, the nerds, y'all love the volume, right? And I think it was to be expected in Mike Brown's offense that he's going to have some more volume. No doubt about that, right? And so sometimes you get a little bit of droppage in percentage. Here's the thing. I just think Jalen Brunson's good enough, and as he gets comfortable shooting more catch-and-shoot threes than he's ever had before, because it's going to be an adjustment period to that. We've been talking about this for the team. There's going to be an adjustment period for players.
And he's still dribbling into a bunch of them.
Yeah. So I'm just banking on his talent, his work ethic, in figuring some of this stuff out, and then eventually he's going to get back up to 35%. So I'm going with the percentage a little bit lower than you. I'm going to cut what you had in half. I'm going 15% chance that he shoots worse than 34.8% that he did in his rookie season. I think this upticks. I think Jalen Brunson is going to have, and this is early. We got to remember, we're talking about this after 8 games. He could go 7 of 10 in the next 2 games.
Right.
And he's right back above that, right?
Yeah.
So the swing could be crazy. Now he has to do this over the course of a season, and that's why we're talking about this in this grand level. But I'm banking on his work ethic and just getting more comfortable in the offense. And I think we're already starting to see that.
Yeah.
So you at 30, I'm going a little lower just because it's Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, I'm not betting against Jalen Brunson. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. That's pretty much where I am in that. So, okay, Bryan's got 30% chance for that. I've got 15 for that. That's topic number 1. Topic number 2. Talk about a guy that y'all love to talk about last year, and y'all have nothing bad to say about him this year. In fact, y'all aren't even talking about the picks. We haven't heard. Have you heard anybody mention the picks from Mikal Bridges?
After the Wizards game, yes. Actually, I got a text from a very good friend of both of ours who said they need to trade Mikal Bridges.
You have to tell me who that person was after
you love this person.
I love him. I don't love that comment.
Her.
Oh, man. I know who it is. I thought about it. I was like, okay, I know who it is. I know who it is because I talked with this person before the season.
Yeah.
And she was on that program. You know who you are. Let's talk about Mikal Bridges. What's the percent chance, folks? And we also want to recommend everybody watching this. Let us know what you think about this stuff in the comment. What's your percentage? What's your odds at? What's the percent chance that this is Mikal Bridges' career best 3-point shooting season? Now, Mikal Bridges, back in the 2020-2021 season, he shot 42.5% from downtown. This year, and I'm not saying this is sustainable, he's shooting 46.5% from downtown. But our friend wants to trade him. What's the odds that he shoots better than the 42.5? That would be a career best. What are the chances of that happening, Bryan?
His 3-point attempt rate is 48, which is ridiculously high for him. For perspective, his career 3-point attempt rate is 42%, or a shade underneath that. And that includes this year, which tells you it was below that before the season started. So the percentage chance he's above his career high, 42.5%. I'm going to say it has to be a little under 50-50. 42.5 is just a high mark, especially for someone who's not typically there. Like, this isn't Kyle Korver, right. Somebody like that who kind of lives in that area. So I'm probably going to say 25%. Like, we'll give it a quarter of the way there. I do feel like if you bet on it, we talked about with Jalen Brunson, by the way, if he's 7 for 10, the percentage could shoot up. Mikal Bridges has like an 0 for 4 and then a 1 for 6. This drops significantly. That's a 10% swing, right? Or 10% performance across the course of 2 games, and that'll swing your percentage downward. So I'm going to say 25% just because it's a very high number. I think there's a much better percentage chance though that he's at 40% or above that. And I think even if he's at 38 plus, like, you'll take that. But if he's a 40% 3-point shooter, which by the way would be the second highest percentage of his career, that's something that would still be really, really good. And I put that probably closer to 50-50 at this point.
So what I find interesting is that, you look at Mikal Bridges' career, and I'm looking numbers here on Cleaning the Glass, which we love here, but remember that takes out numbers in garbage time. So that was year 3 for Mikal Bridges when he shot over 42% from the field, right? That was fantastic. He had a jump from 36% that year to 42%. What we're kind of asking him to do this year, if we're going to be real about it, right, is take a jump. Last year, which was his lowest shooting percentage from 3 since that 2020-21 season when he shot 42%. He only shot 36.5 last year, right? Now you're asking him to take a jump almost as big as he had from 1920 to 2021. Here's what you're banking on to me if you believe that the odds are high in this. And I'm kind of with you. I don't believe the odds are high in this.
Right.
You're banking on the fact that he's that much more comfortable in the system. You're also banking on the fact that the above the break threes, which he's been hitting, he can still hit that at a high rate, which has been a huge difference for him this season. I just think that's too large of a jump to get to above 42.5%. I'm with you in thinking that he shoots a little bit around 40%. I think he's going to have a really good year. I could even see him shooting 41%. 42.5 is just a little bit too high for me. So I'm putting the odds here in 1 out of 5, 20% for me. 20% odds that Mikal Bridges does this. Again, I think if you're talking about over 40%, you said 50. I might be willing to even go 55 or 60 because I just think he looks comfortable. I think this offense is tailor-made for him. And I do see there's an uptick. I just think asking for a almost 7 percentage point swing is a lot in a year. To that be your career year. Mikal Bridges has shot at least 37% from 3 since that 2020-21 season, except for last year when he was just over 36%.
So last year was the outlier, statistically.
Statistically, as an outlier. So you're saying if he comes back to what he's kind of been averaging, he's been 37.5%, 38.5%.
Yeah.
Can he get back there? But could he be better in a better offense that suits him? Yeah.
Right.
So could I see a 2 percentage point uptick? Yeah, sure.
He's getting open. He's getting open looks. It's a lot of threes again, like to maintain that high percentage. But again, 38 and up is good. That's really good. And in today's NBA, obviously 40 and up is still really, really good. So if he's at least 38 to 40, that's great. But the question is 42.5, and you know that's elite level, and he hasn't really been that over the course of his career.
Now, hey, here's the thing: if he hits the 42.5, our friend out there, you can't be saying that you want to trade him. You can't do that. No.
I wonder if it's the actual right person because like
I'm sure it's SC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure of that. I'll leave it to initials. I was sure of that. All right, moving on. We got to talk about Mitchell Robinson.
Yes, we do.
Mitchell Robinson, we know the conversation with him is always about health and availability, right? The best ability is availability. What's the percent chance, Bryan, that Mitchell Robinson plays over 55 games this season? The last time he played 55 games, do you know? It was in the 2022-2023 season when he played 59 games. Just cleared that by 4 games. What's the percent chance that Mitchell Robinson, who we have already seen miss a bunch of games this season due to load management, that's still weird to me. But due to all that, what's the percent chance that you see him get over 55? We're not even asking for 65, so he's eligible for awards. We're saying 55.
So he's been over this 4 times in his career.
Yep.
And it's worth noting that he hasn't done that in those years that you mentioned, which means he's only done it 4 times in 7 seasons, and this is his 8th now. So I have a hard time getting to, for example, 60. 55 is doable, but there's a mysterious injury situation that has gone on to even start the year. And on top of that, you have somebody who at any given moment could just sit out a week, sit out 2 weeks because there's a tweak here or there. It looks like everyone, all parties involved, are going to be very careful with this. So I'm going to say this is probably 40%. I think it should be higher, but it's 55 games. And I want to go lower than that, but I feel like that might be a little too disrespectful. But at the same time, we're looking at somebody who played 3 preseason games, didn't play opening night, didn't play the first few games of the season, and has already been on the injury report numerous times. Day to day with this, we'll see what happens here. It wasn't a guarantee that he was going to play last night either, or the last game against Minnesota.
Right.
So I think this is just going to be a day to day thing. I would probably lean no, so I'm going to go 40%. That sounds like it's a bit high for you, given all the 50. That still means he would miss 27 games in total. Just, I'll have you know. You're actually, you know what? I'll go.
See?
When you do the math, 27 games missed, and he's missed how many already? 4?
He's already missed 4 of 8. He's missed half the games.
You know what?
So he's on pace for 41. Not that on pace means something. He's on pace to play 41 games.
And the pace does change if he plays like, a few games in a row, but then there's back-to-backs away. And you know what?
He's definitely not playing.
I'm going to go back to 25%. I'm dropping it down 15 percentage points. Your face has convinced me, and also just like talking it out a little bit more.
Not many times my face convinces anybody to do anything, but yeah, okay. I'm going to say, can I listen?
I had a really good joke there, but I don't know if it's appropriate.
Probably not, because it's you. Can I say this? I think 25% is too high.
Oh, jeez.
I think 25% is too
Ariel
high.
Hukporty, you better earn a rotation spot.
Now that'll get into another thing about the wingman depth. We'll get into that at some other point. He's on. So there's a couple things here for me. And one of the things I think that's really influencing a lot of what I talked about is we sat here on opening night, and before the game against the Cavs, we had Stephen Bondi on with us.
We did.
And we asked Steph about the curious situation around the Knicks handling Mitchell Robinson's injury.
Right.
And Steph was not reporting, but he was theorizing. And
As the Rock Hymn of Sports Writing would.
the Rock Hymn of Sports Writing would do.
That's an inside joke if you guys
So
don't
if
know.
you don't know, Chuck D called him the Rock Hymn of
Yes.
Sports Writing if you're not caught up. He brought up the point. And I don't call it a theory. He brought up like sometimes players, through their agents, will protect them from injuries. What's the thing? Okay.
And he said he wasn't limping either. He's like,
Right.
yo, he looks fine. Like,
So that perked my ears up.
yeah.
I was like, huh. And what Steph is saying is true, because you will know this around the league. This happens for those of us around the NBA. We know this. Here's the thing. Mitchell Robinson needs to do two things this season. Not kind of. Definitely needs to be on the court. But at what cost? What else is Mitchell Robinson trying to do this season?
Get paid.
He's trying to get paid.
He's a free agent after the season, if you don't know.
Can't get hurt if you don't play that much.
Unless you work out really, really, really ridiculously hard.
But so I wonder, this is not reporting on me. This is me just wondering out loud. If he and his team are thinking about, how do we get paid? Do we have nights like we did the other night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where we clearly show our value and we have 8 points, 10 rebounds, 9 of them offensive, 3 blocks. We look like a menace. We're changing the game. Next night we don't play. Y'all need me. You need to pay me. I'm just saying this is a pretty good strategy. Y'all want to sign me as an agent? Holler at your boy. And if you're having that, and the Knicks are also in the value of protecting him.
With depth also.
With depth.
Not enough at center.
Not enough at center. But let's say the Knicks are like, this works for us.
But to your point, on Sunday, it's like, do you really need Mitch to win that game?
Robinson? Yeah. Do you need Mitch Robinson on Sunday?
You know?
No. So now, let's say he doesn't play Sunday. And everybody will have watched this by Sunday.
Yeah.
Now he's missed 5 games already.
Yeah.
Now that's even below the
And you're not even up to
41.
10 as a team.
So my percent chance for this happening, and this might blow some of your minds, 2%, folks. 2%. 2%.
That's too low.
Is it?
I think it's too low.
Is it? Is it too low?
We both
17 games last year, 31 the year before, 59 that we talked about in that 2022-2023 season. Is it too low?
Look, to your point.
Please tell me why the number's crazy.
If it's just 2%. 2%. So implied odds for that would be
Y'all drink 2% milk. Some of y'all drink 2% milk.
2% milk is good.
I don't do that. But listen, there is a chance. What I'm saying with this is, so there's a chance.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Do I believe in that chance? Bryan, you do work for the Action Network.
I do.
What would you say the odds are on this?
The odds? No, I think the better question would be, what would you set the over-under for games played for Mitchell Robinson this season? Knowing what right now.
42.
42 and a half?
Yeah.
I'd go a little higher than that. I would go 50 and a half. I think high 40s, like 50 around there.
Okay, you said you set the line at 50 and a half. What would you bet? You want to say under. Just say under. Just say under.
I do want to say under.
Just say under.
I'm not comfortable at all saying over.
See, there we go. It's all right, you said 25%. I'm going with 2%. Some of y'all might think I'm tripping. I don't care. Going with 2%. There we go. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about Tyler Kolek, because a lot of y'all like to talk about Tyler Kolek. Tyler Kolek right now, Bryan and I have talked a lot about him in the offseason.
Honestly.
You know, Tyler Kolek showed some things earlier this year, right, Bryan? Looked like, when I say showed some things, let me take that back. Tyler Kolek had some opportunities in the first couple of games of this season. I'm not saying he didn't show anything, because he did show some things, right, to us. But as of now, at the time of recording this, Tyler Kolek is not in the rotation. Okay?
That happened fast.
He has gotten end of the last couple of games, but we know it's basically a DNP CD. We know this. But
to add to that real quick,
yes.
Combined over the last 4 games, it's about 11 minutes. And one of those appearances was 31 seconds.
That's out of the rotation.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's what we've talked about. Once Malcolm Brogdon retired, Tyler Kolek was going to have an opportunity to try to show this team that he's a viable backup point guard. Early on, Mike Brown gave him looks. Mike Brown put him out there in backup point guard minutes. He was one of the first guards off the bench in the first couple of games. You saw him play about 14-ish minutes against Cleveland, Boston. We saw that. Now he's not in the rotation. So here's the question. What's the percent chance, I feel like you might say 2, that Tyler Kolek will be in the rotation after the trade deadline? So please notice what we said here, folks. We're also letting you know that answering this question that Tyler Kolek will be with the team after the trade deadline. So after the trade deadline, is he going to be playing minutes? Or is he going to be in the G League? What's the deal? So is he, by the time we get past the trade deadline, are you looking at him saying he is the clear-cut backup point guard on the New York Knicks?
10%.
It's better than 2.
I don't want to go that low just because you are, as an organization, incentivized to see what you have in somebody on their rookie contract, even if they're turning 25 years old in March. You're incentivized to do that for business reasons, for financial reasons. He's under contract, under team control for 2 more seasons after this year.
Right.
Tyler Kolek is. So you're incentivized to see what you have in him and Mikal Bridges. Evidently, it's not enough for Mike Brown right now. And can you really fault them because of what they've shown or what they haven't shown? We don't even see Mikal Bridges. We at least saw Tyler Kolek get an opportunity.
It's true.
Mikal Bridges hardly got minutes even in the Timberwolves game at the very, very end. So to me, there's not a great chance of this happening. Now, at the risk of sounding like I'm confirming my priors, didn't expect this either. Like, I didn't expect that he would be getting minutes anyway, and I think he got minutes because Malcolm Brogdon retired. Like, I was saying even beforehand, I'm like, you have to see what you have on your roster, but do you? Because what is actually the best case scenario here? Like, do you think he's going to be like a great backup point guard for you? He has shooting talent. I'll say that. He's not making his threes, but he has shooting talent. Like, he can shoot. He has the profile of someone who can shoot. He's a really good passer. That's obviously a lot of people's favorite, like, part of his game.
That's elite skill in his game.
And you have to have an elite skill in the NBA.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is, and what happens is, when he steps out onto the floor, other NBA teams are going to see food. And if you're going to win a championship, you have to have as little bit of those guys on the roster as possible, unless they're so dynamic offensively that it doesn't matter. And there's players that are much, much better offensively who get absolutely hunted in the playoffs. Darius Garland, who's an all-star. Tyler Hero, who's an all-star. So on and so forth. So I think with Tyler Kolek, for someone who is probably a backup point guard at best, at least for this season, and maybe that's a permanent thing, who knows, like 10% chance he's even their backup point guard this year, because I also think the Knicks front office is going to be like, look, you have to get a Malcolm Brogdon type, like a veteran, to actually be the backup behind Jalen Brunson. And evidently they don't think Jordan Clarkson is like a true backup one, although now he's starting to have to like do a little bit more of that out of necessity. So to me, I think they probably add somebody else. It's more likely that they add somebody else on the roster, just a vet who can take some minutes.
I don't think that your number of 10% is crazy or wild or anything like that. I don't want to go low. I sound like you. I don't want to go lower to disrespect Tyler Kolek, because that's not what I'm doing here. But what I will say is, sometimes I wonder with this, and I'm going to try to factor this in my percentage. Can the percentage get higher because an opportunity comes for Tyler Kolek?
That's the thing.
Maybe Tyler Kolek takes that opportunity and runs.
That's why it's not 0. Like if Jordan Clarkson misses time and you have to out of necessity, like, and in the NBA,
Brunson, unfortunately misses time. Maybe the scarier proposition
right.
of what we're bringing up there. Right?
Yeah, but what if he gets the opportunity and then it's like, oh wait, no, you got to get somebody else.
Well, right, because no, to your point on that, it's not just about the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's also about what happens with the opportunity.
And these aren't the Wizards. Like, you're trying to win a title. If you were on the Wizards, if you were on Utah, Brooklyn, if you were in the same city, he'd be getting playing time right now.
But this
is
just that's
championship aspiration. Part of this is out of his hands and Pacome Dadier's hands. It's like, yo, this team is trying to win now, and if you're not ready,
ain't nothing we can do about that.
Right.
So what I'll say to that is, I'm gonna factor in the percentage that he could get this opportunity and could do his thing in this opportunity. Now, I don't think that's much higher than you, so I'm gonna give a little bit more than you. I'm gonna go 15%.
15, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go 15%.
That's what I thought.
I might even maybe want to bump it to 20.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be nice. I'll go 20.
Why not?
Why not? Maybe y'all thought I was harsh on this.
Necessity is important.
Because necessity is too, and then sometimes, here's what I'll say. I don't think in the first 2 games when he got some minutes that he played terribly, but he was getting hunted, and teams still do see him as food.
He survived the first game, but less so after.
But against less high-end talent. No Darius Garland in that game, right, to hunt him too in the backcourt. So you got to factor that in.
What does Mike Brown talk about a lot? Like, we were at the press conference Wednesday. He cares about defense. He came up in this league as a defensive coach.
Yeah, I think
like
people forget that.
As revolutionary as you want to call the offense, like the Kings offense from a few years ago, which he's trying to re-implement here, according to his conversation with Kevin Huerter, which he joked about at the press conference the other day. Like, even with those offensive principles, the defense is going to come first and foremost for, honestly, a lot of these coaches from that era of that ilk. Tom Thibodeau, Mike Brown. So if you can't defend, Eric Spoelstra, if you can't defend,
you're not seeing him. You're not seeing the court. And that's the part that's got to get better for Tyler Kolek. So, okay, 10% for Bryan, 20% for me. All right, before we wrap, we talked about players here. But let's talk about this team as a whole. Knicks right now are in the middle of a 7-game homestand, their longest homestand of the season. They are 3-0. They have not lost a game at home yet this season. So what's the percent chance that the Knicks win 12 games here in the month of November? They are undefeated in the month of November. They have not lost. They have 14 games this month. So we're asking them to go 12-2. We're asking them to get 9 more wins. Here's the interesting thing about the schedule. If you're wondering about the schedule, they've only got 1 game against a team over 500 at the time of this recording. They took an L to this team already. That is the Bucks. The schedule, when you look at it, it's kind of favorable.
The road trip is the thing,
and they're 0-3 on the road.
And also, not for nothing, quite a few of these places, as a matter of fact, all of these places except for maybe one, there'll be a bunch of Knicks fans there.
Kind of like home games. I mean, we can look at this here, people, for you really quickly. Coming up, they host the Knicks. This is a continual homestand. Host the Nets. Excuse me, host the Knicks. How the Knicks gonna host the Knicks?
I mean, they might as well host themselves.
That's true.
They should just do a scrimmage.
That's true. We're not trying to disrespect you, Brooklyn. They then host the Grizzlies next week, back to back, and then they have the Magic. Okay, NBA Cup game. They host the Heat. Then they go to South Beach, which is also like being at home again, MSG South, and they play the Heat 3 days later on the 17th. Then they go to the Mavericks as part of the road trip, then down to Orlando, it's kind of back home in Brooklyn for the Nets, then down to Charlotte for the Hornets.
Why are they going to New York and then Charlotte?
Yeah, that's really weird with the scheduling. Then they host the Bucks in an NBA Cup group stage game on the 28th, and they close out the month hosting the Raptors. I love this question because when we look at the schedule, we're always like, man, it looks easy. It's never as easy as you think.
Never.
Here's the thing I will say about the road trip before I get your answer and we wrap. I do think the Knicks are going to finish this homestand really well, and I do think a big part of the message from the coaching staff is going to be like, yo, we're 0-3 on the road. We need to go out there and do some work. We got to show we can win some road games. So what you want to do in NBA, you want any sport, you want to dominate at home. Can you be 500-ish plus more on the road?
Right.
That's what the really good teams do. I think they'll be focused on that road trip. How focused, I don't know. But what's the percent chance you think that they win 12 games, 9 more wins for the rest of this month is all they need?
So they can't lose 2 games the rest of this month.
They can only lose 2
games. They can't lose more than 2 games.
More than 2 games, yeah.
30%.
Wow, that's lower than I expected.
Because it's the NBA and teams are deep. And even though the schedule's favorable, Orlando has played well below expectations. The Desmond Bane trade, which looked like it could be a home run, is not even a slap single right now. But there's a world where they figure it out. Or they fire Jamal Mosley and perhaps figure it out, in that direction. You have not a back-to-back, but a home and home with Miami. Beating that team twice is always difficult. Beating pretty much any NBA team is difficult. And Bam is right now dealing with a sprained toe. He's day-to-day. He'll probably play for both of those. Tyler Hero supposedly might come back for that second game. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how much better that's going to make them. From a like that game perspective, it's his first game back. I don't know what the expectation of that should be,
right.
But it's going to be hard to win those two. So like that's where I'm expecting one loss, I guess. And then with Orlando,
that's fair.
With Orlando, who I still think can be a good team, are you really going to beat them twice in the month? Like maybe one of those games is in Orlando. I wouldn't say Orlando has like an amazing home court advantage, although it's better than it used to be. And you are going to have a lot of Knicks fans there. And then otherwise, like sometimes it just happens where like Charlotte is at the end of that road trip, even though, again, they're going to be able to sleep in their own beds at some point on the road trip because they're playing Brooklyn. But Charlotte's at the end of that. And that's a game where, Charlotte's caught them slipping in the past. And they have talent. Brandon Miller could be back by that point. LaMelo Ball could be active and should be active well before that. So, like, there are just a lot of sort of landmines here because it's the NBA. You just don't always win the games you're favored in. And that's another interesting piece of this. They're going to be favored for the vast majority of these games. Like, I'm struggling to find a game where they're actually going to be underdogs. Like, I don't even know if they're going to be underdogs in that Miami game on the road. The only one I can think about is maybe at Orlando if they get it together by then.
So you said 30%?
I say 30%. It's unlikely just because it's the NBA, but it can happen because the schedule is not awesome. And health is going to matter too. Like, is Mitch going to play? Towns, and the stuff that he's been dealing with.
I will say this. I think their percent chance will increase the better they are on this homestand. If they go 7-0 in this homestand, now this percentage goes real high to me. But I'm a little higher than you on this because I think the schedule – I think the Knicks heard some of the noise around their slow start, and I think they're starting to hit a bit of a stride here. Hope so. We'll see. Got to see a little more. I'm going to go 50% on this. I think it's a 50-50 chance. Coin flip. I think this could happen. I think
that's fair.
I think it win the 12 games.
Yeah.
I think it's fair because when I look at the schedule now, I do kind of agree with you. The one place where I was like, hey, where could there be a loss? That Heat – home and home series, even though there's 3 days between it, and the Knicks play that's the last game of their homestand, and then they go down to South Beach. You go to Miami. Some of y'all go to Miami and things happen.
They caught the South Beach flu last time.
The South Beach flu. Things happen. That's all I'm saying. I can see something happening there because you also got to look at the cities where you want to be and you don't want to be. Some cities you want to get up out of real quick. It depends.
Orlando's not too bad.
We saw the Knicks almost get caught slipping last year on Black Friday against the Hornets. You can see those things. I don't think they drop on the Nets. I think they're motivated against the Bucks again. I think they'll get up for the Grizzlies and the Magic games at home.
The Grizzlies could tailspin. So
we'll see. I'm gonna go 50%. That's my number. 50%. You said 40.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit higher on that 50%. So that's it. All right. That's gonna do it for this Odds Makers edition of New York Got Game. Let us know what you think the odds are on all of this. Was I tripping about Mitchell Robinson only having a 2% chance of playing 55 games? I don't think so. I don't think so. Were we tripping on Mikal Bridges possibly shooting over 42.5%? Who knows? It's fun. It's fun to discuss, though. And we'll see. Knicks playing good basketball, at least right now, through 3 games. They are on a 3-game win streak. They are 5-3 on the season. They've got the Nets on Sunday. We'll see if they can keep the good vibes going. Let us know what you think about the odds in the comments. He's Bryan Fonseca. I'm Dexter Henry. We'll catch you next time on another edition of New York Got Game.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.